Hello and welcome back to Module 2. And in this module, we are going to be covering understanding angels and divine guidance. Let me share my screen with you and we will get straight stuck into today's content. Let's have a look. What are we covering in this session? By the end of today's session, you will have a better understanding of what are angels and the hierarchy of angels. You'll know more about the role and purpose of angels and why angels want to connect with you. And finally, we're going to be debunking, common myths about angels. So what are angels? Well, basically angels, they have existed across many spiritual traditions and systems over a very long period of time. And that means that angels have been mentioned in ancient texts for thousands of years. And the good news is you don't have to follow any particular religion to connect with angels. They are universal beings of light and love available to everyone. And many cultures have depicted winged beings. Now, the first historical records of winged beings comes from Zoroastrianism, Many cultures have depicted winged beings. The first historical records of winged beings comes from Zoroastrianism, one of the world's oldest religions. And angels, essentially, they are pure spiritual beings made of divine light. And they exist in a higher vibrational frequency than our physical world. And they don't actually have physical bodies, but can manifest energy in a way that we can sense it. Now, I will say one thing, and it's really important. Angels do manifest in ways that we can understand them, that perhaps we can see them. So, for example, I've seen Archangel Michael a number of times, and his form changes depending on the circumstances. Now, the way I see Archangel Michael might be totally different than the way someone else sees Archangel Michael. And that's because we are all different with different experiences and different backgrounds. So angels are going to appear to you in a form that you will be able to identify. And I hope that makes sense. Because ultimately, angels, they are messengers between the divine source and humanity. The word angel actually comes from the Greek angelos, which is the equivalent of the Hebrew malak, meaning messenger. And how appropriate is that? Let's talk a little bit about the hierarchy of angels. And in fact, there are 9 hierarchies. And we're going to start with the highest orders. And that starts with the seraphim. Now, they are the fiery ones who adore God. They are the highest rank and they stand nearest to God and are often considered his messengers. Now, the highest ranking angel used to be Lucifer. Now, the highest ranking angel used to be Lucifer. He is the let's try that again. The highest ranking angel used to be Lucifer. He is the most authorized and most beautiful, and he is the destroyer, the devil, and the light bringer, just to give you a few other names that he's associated with. But currently, Michael is the highest and strongest angel, and despite his inferior power, he defeated Lucifer, and so Michael then became the viceroy of heaven and the bearer of the flaming sword. Which brings us to the next highest order, which entails having the cherubim. They are the guard, which brings us to the next highest order, which has the cherubim and the guard ones who protect. They are the guard ones who protect God's holiness. They are the second highest in the 9 order of angels. The cherubim are the guard ones who protect God's holiness. They are the second highest in the 9 order of angels. These angels are man-like in appearance, double-winged and guardians of God's glory. In the New Testament, they are often considered to be celestial attendants in the apocalypse. And the third of the highest order are the thrones. They are the ones who represent God's justice. The thrones are a class of angels mentioned by the Apostle Paul in the Bible. The thrones are the angels of humility, peace, and submission. If the lower choir of angels needed to access God, they would have to do it through the thrones. That brings us now to the middle orders, and the first of those is the dominions. Now, this group of angels is said to keep the world in proper order. They are known for delivering God's justice in unjust situations, showing mercy towards human beings and helping angels in lower ranks stay organized and perform their work effectively. They are also recognized for expressing unconditional love. But to be fair, all angels do that. And at the same time, they express God's justice. The dominions are believed to embody qualities of wisdom, authority, and governance, exerting influence over the natural world and the spiritual realms. The second of the middle orders are archangels. Now, they are called the great heralds of the good news because God sends them to deliver important messages to mankind. They are the ones that communicate and interact with us. Now, the most common archangels that you may have heard of are Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel. And the powers are the last of the middle orders, and they are considered warrior angels as they defend against evil, defending not only the cosmos, but also humanity. They are also called the powers because they have power over the devil in order to restrain the power of the demons. They also help people who are wrestling with passions and vices to cast out any evil promoted by the enemy. That now brings us to the 3 lower orders. The first of these are virtues, and they are known for their control of the elements. Some even refer to them as the shining ones. In addition to being the spirits of motion, they also assist in governing nature. They also assist with miracles. They're also known for their work encouraging humans to strengthen their faith in God. Which brings us to the principalities. Now, they have command over the lower angels. They also direct the divine fulfillment. The principalities have command over the lower angels. They also direct the fulfillment of divine. I'll say that again. The principalities have command over the lower angels. They also direct the fulfillment of. I was going to have that right. Let's try that again. The principalities have command over the lower angels. They also direct the fulfillment of divine orders. They are also known as princedoms or rules, as they directly watch over large groups and institutions, including nations and the church. They also ensure the fulfillment of divine will. While these angels are still wise and powerful, they are furthest from God in the angelic hierarchy, so they are better able to communicate with man in ways we can understand. Which brings us to the angels, which are actually the lowest in the lower orders. And the angels are closest to the material world and human beings. They deliver prayers to God and other messages to people on earth. One of the greatest characteristics of angels is that the angels are closest to the material world and human beings. They deliver prayers to God and other messages to people on earth. One of the greatest characteristics of angels is that they are the most caring and social to assist those who ask for help. According to Scripture, angels have various responsibilities and roles in God's kingdom. We are ultimately encouraged by the knowledge that God's angels are at work. There are also circumstances where angels may even visit us. Which brings us also to guardian angels. Now, guardian angels hold a special place in Christian belief, tasked with watching over and protecting individuals throughout their lives. These celestial beings, guardian angels, hold a special place in Christian belief, tasked with watching over and protecting individuals throughout their lives. These celestial beings are believed to offer guidance, comfort, and divine intervention in times of need, serving as constant companions and advocates for those under their watchful care. And it's at this moment that I really would like to share with you a personal story. And it's about me being rescued by my guardian angel. Now, previously, I know that I have the role and purpose of angels. What is it that angels actually do? Well, they protect. They watch over us and shield us from harm, whether that's physical, emotional, or spiritual. They guide. They offer wisdom and direction when we face decisions or challenges. They provide us with comfort. They bring peace, reassurance, and healing during difficult times. They support us. They help us align with our highest good and sole purpose. And they also inspire. They spark that creativity, insight, and divine ideas. Now, one very important concept that I want to cover with you, and it's got to do with free will. Angels respect our free will completely. They cannot intervene without our permission, except in life-threatening situations. That is why asking is so important. We must invite their help. A simple prayer, request, or thought like, "Angels, please help me," opens the door. And it's at this point that I'd like to share with you a very personal story, because here we can see how important it is for us to invite angels into our life, except in life-threatening situations. And that brings me to a time many years ago when I was in my early 20s and I was visiting a friend of mine. Now, what happened on that day is that I was dropped off at her house, but it turns out, now I'd like to add that we didn't have mobile phones in those days, but it turns out that she wasn't home. And I thought to myself, well, I'll just go up the street, I'll go find a telephone booth, and I'll make a phone call. Now, on the way, I had to cross a big double lane highway. And this was back in Australia. So I did my look right, all clear. Then I went to do my look left and went across the road, and I was hit by a car coming from that direction. Now, you might think to yourself, well, how on earth does that happen? I've already done the look right. Well, that's what I thought I had done. What I didn't know was that this first section of road was not actually in use. It was the second section of road that was being used for both directions. And when I did my look left, I should have actually looked right. And when that car hit me, it was so unexpected, but I went tumbling over to the other far side of the road where I landed after the car had hit me. Now, here's the amazing thing. Within 2 minutes, there were two nurses and a doctor on the scene to check me over. And guess what? No broken bones, no damage to me at all. Well, a little bit of damage. What ended up happening was that I do have a slight dint in my leg from that experience, and I recovered with some mighty purple bruises in that following week, but no broken bones. And my dad arrived to come and pick me up, and like, goodness, what on earth has happened here? And he spoke to the driver of the car, who, by the way, couldn't believe that I'd stepped out onto the road. And here's the thing. There was no damage to his car except for the tiniest of marks that could have come from a ring on my finger. Needless to say, I went to work the following week and everyone said to me, oh, you should be buying a lottery ticket. Oh, your guardian angel clearly saved you. Well, I didn't buy the lottery ticket. I didn't want to risk my luck. After all, I'd already been saved, and I'm so grateful for that. Now, angels definitely intervened. They didn't need me to ask. They knew it wasn't my time. So that's an example of angels intervening when it's a life-threatening situation, but you're not meant to go. Think about it this way. If I hadn't been saved way back then, I wouldn't be alive to be able to share this story with you today. You wouldn't be a part of this fantastic school group. So remember, it's really important. Don't take any chances. Remember to ask. So how angels support us every day? Well, it can be as simple as finding a parking space, not just when you're running late, even if you are in desperate need of one. They might prompt you to give you that sudden urge to take a different route, and later you might find out that by doing that, you avoided an accident. I'll also say, don't ever get angry if you're running late, because there might be a reason why angels are protecting you. If you would have arrived at a certain space at your normal time, you might have been involved in a car accident or some other incidents. So just remember, you might very well be being protected. Now, angels will also give us comfort during grief or heartbreak. They might give us that flash of insight that solves a problem. We might even get to be in that place where angels guide us, that we're meeting the right person at the right time. And yes, they can help us with finding lost objects. Angels can be connected with. Everyone can connect with angels, and here's why. The angels, their purpose is all about love. They exist in a state of pure, unconditional love, and their greatest joy is helping humanity. They don't judge us or require us to be perfect to receive their help. They see our highest potential and they want to help us to reach it. Remember, you are worthy. One of the biggest blocks that people have is feeling not spiritual enough or not worthy. You don't need to meditate for hours, be a certain religion, or live a perfect life. You are able to connect with angels, and angels already know you and they love you exactly as you are. Your worthiness is inherent. It's not something that you need to earn. Think about our relationship with angels as the divine partnership. Angels bridge the gap between humans and the divine. When we work with angels, we align with a higher flow of grace and synchronicity. This connection brings more peace, clarity, and inspiration into our lives. Think of angels as loving friends in the spiritual realm, always cheering you on, always ready to help, always believing in you. Let's talk about some common myths and let's debunk some of those myths. Myth number 1, you have to be religious to follow a specific faith. Myth number 1, you have to be religious or follow a specific faith. No, not true. Angels are universal and work with people of all beliefs or no religious belief at all. Myth 2, only special or gifted people can connect with angels. Well, the truth is everyone has the ability to connect. It's just a matter of learning how. And you know what? I know that that's why you're here. Myth 3, if I can't see or hear angels, I'm doing it wrong. That's not entirely true either. Angels communicate in many ways. Most people feel or sense them rather than seeing or hearing. And that's where it's going to come in super handy when we look at the modules about our clairs. Myth 4, angels will solve all of my problems for me. No, they won't. Angels are there to guide and support us, but we still need to take action. They empower us, not replace our responsibility. And myth 5, connecting with angels is complicated or requires rituals. Well, it can be as simple as a thought, a prayer, or a moment of stillness. Having said that, there is a module in my paid course that you can get to experience later on where we definitely cover some elements of rituals. But for now, they're definitely not necessary. Rituals are a nice to have, not a must have. You can most certainly connect with angels without a specific ritual. And that brings us to our last slide, which is our slide of reflection. Because you now understand what angels are, why they're here, and that they're already connected to you, waiting for you to reach out. In the next module, we'll explore exactly how angels communicate, the signs, the symbols, and the subtle ways they've probably been reaching out to you already. Until then, I invite you to simply notice, have there been moments in your life when you felt unexplained comfort, guidance, or protection? That may have been your angels all along. And I'm going to say to you, now is probably a great time to jump into your angel workbook. take a look at the questions in there and spend a few minutes reflecting on those before you jump into the next module. I'll see you there.